I just also want to echo the thanks to Dr. Wang and his team at CCG and to our resident coordinator, Chatterjee, and his team for convening and bringing us together for the opportunity to talk about the incredible commitment that China has made to multilateral cooperation and the power of that collaboration to have an impact on lives. I want to complement the august history that we've been talking about with some additional history. UNICEF, like a number of our sister agencies, has been working in China for over 40 years. And UNICEF, like them, is very proud of the 42 years of working with the government of China because of the accomplishments that we've been able to support in China's protecting and realizing the rights of all her children. In addition, a number of us are celebrating 75 years. So like a number of other UN agencies, UNICEF was created by member states. So for 75 years, UNICEF has been working to implement that mandate given by member states to protect and advance the rights of children all over the world. I bring that up because Dr. Wang reminded me when his friend said that the UN Charter is a beautiful document. That's the document on which all of our work is based, and it's also a timeless document. So the world changes. Things have gone up and down recently in the last few years, but especially since we were founded 75 years ago. And yet the words of the Charter are timeless. And so much so that member states have reiterated them by creating and codifying the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which came into effect at the end of the 1980s, 1989, and the government of China was an early signer and ratifier, and it picks up on those principles of rights and protecting children's rights in particular, because how timeless they are. I bring that up in that history and that foundation because it's a roadmap for how we try to move forward with that common understanding to put in place the right programs and policies, guidelines, in order to truly realize every single child's right and protect and advance those rights. And it holds us all to account in all sectors. It's up to governments, but I would call on the private sector. It holds to account communities. It holds to account parents and children themselves understanding their rights. So these are very lofty goals, and you'll hear all of us talking about these big words of rights and protecting and advancing them. But what does it mean? How does it manifest? 3 things that I'd like to leave all of us with that gives an example of work UNICEF has done around the world, but including here with the government of China. The first is equal access to quality services. And let me emphasize, again, this is where the roadmap comes in. The government of China and UNICEF is not working on creating quality services for services' sake, but in order to advance and protect the rights of children. So, for example, over the last 40 years, China has implemented a strong health system so that we have seen the elimination of children dying from preventable causes. And that's because China has created a universal immunization. By the beginning of the 1990s, all of China's children were immunized against major killers such as DPT and measles. Secondly, I would challenge anyone who is familiar with iodine deficiency disorder, because China in the last 40 years has eliminated this disorder. And that was because it put in place a strong health system, a health system that had equal access and the highest possible quality for everyone, and especially the most vulnerable populations. The second way we use this guidance of the UN Charter and the Convention on the Rights of the Child is to have equal access for all children to the benefit of social security, the benefits that come from that. That you can see in Article 26 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Now, we forgot to bring our conventions on the rights of the child, but we can get you copies in both Mandarin and English. Just come see me after this. But the idea there is to integrate the financial investment with the services that we're providing to children. So a very tangible example is the government of China's investing in social work. In 2010, Based on lessons and ideas that UNICEF had from around the world and the needs that the government of China had identified, China in 120 villages implemented frontline training to build capacity of social workers, what we call child directors. Today, the government of China has expanded that to over 660,000 villages, with people on the front line with the tools and the skills to identify children at risk and to identify when children are already at risk, how to help them. We continue to work on ways to strengthen that system. The third area of how we manifest these documents and these lofty words into action is investing in the entire childhood, from the earliest days all the way through adolescence. One of the things that we know is that the brain, by the age of 3, has developed to 80% of its adult capacity. So that means an investment in those early childhood days is extremely important. And that means that we've worked with the government of China to work on how do we invest in those systems that create early childhood investment in nutrition, in health, in education. And the government of China has done that by building systems on the front lines with health, education, but positive parenting with caregivers. Just in 2021, recently, one of our early childhood development pilots was given the best practice in poverty reduction from the Global Rural Development Forum. So that's an independent review that kind of investment in early childhood development is working. The government of China has also committed in the whole childhood, adolescence. That is the second time the brain develops at such a rapid pace. And so UNICEF is working with the government of China to continue investing in systems of education and learning that go beyond middle school but into high school and create rigorous and robust opportunities in vocational training, so that we're looking at the whole child from that early 3 years old, 0 to 3, 0 to 6, all the way through adolescence. Let me end by saying that we've taken these lessons across China, and over the 40 years, I know our organization and others have applied the lessons learned. We've brought in ideas from outside of China, and we're bringing the lessons that we're learning, as DG Tianlin said, outside of China. The South-South Cooperation Assistance Fund has enabled UNICEF to work with countries around the world to respond to cyclone emergencies, for example. With the SCAF funding from Sitka and CSET, those countries were able to get rapid assistance. And we want to continue to do that South-South, back and forth, across China, into China, and out of China. With that, Andy, I'll hand it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Cynthia.